The House will come to order. This morning, the morning pledge will be said by Colton Elijah Parks from Carey Martin Elementary in Loveland, Colorado. He's a guest of Representative McKean, and he's here for Down Syndrome World Day.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands,
and God, and the liberty
Justice for all. Mr. Randall, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Baisley, Beckman, Benavides, Byrd, Bockenfeld, Buck, Buckner, Buenteo, Caravale, Carver, Catlin, Coleman, Cutter, Duran, Exum. Froelich.
Well, I'll tell you, he can sit down here
Galindo.
bring it out a little bit.
Garnett. Geithner. Gonzalez Gutierrez. Gray. Gray.
Excused.
Hanson. Herod. Putin. Humphrey. Jackson. Marquez Lewis. Kennedy. Kip. Kraft-Tharp. Landgraf. Larson. Lewis. Liston. Lontine. Lontine. McCluskey. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Michelson Janae. Mullica. Neville. Pelton. Ransom. Rich. Roberts. Sane. Sandridge. Singer. Sirota. Snyder. Snyder. Soper. Sullivan. Tipper. Tatone. Representative Gray is present. Valdez A. Valdez D. Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams. Wilson. Madam Speaker.
Oh, we're ready, okay. With 65 present, we have a quorum. Representative Jaquez Lewis.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you. I have
It's an honor to serve with you, thank you.
a little sharing for my colleagues. March Madness is here. Get ready to cheer. It will all soon get real. Go UNC Tar Heels. Madam Speaker, I move that the reading of the Journal of Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 be dispensed with and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh my gosh. All opposed say no. Representative Jaquez Lewis, what should I do? I'm going to go ahead and pass it. The motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Representative Catlin and McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a pleasure to serve with you. We have a tribute today, please.
Could we have your attention?
We have a tribute.
Please proceed.
Mr. Randall, would you please read the tribute? Could you slam it, please?
Members, can you please be quiet? We have a tribute.
Thank you.
The Senate and House of Representatives convened in the 72nd General Assembly hereby extend sincere commendations to the Southern Ute Indian Tribe and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. We are proud to recognize the state of Colorado's two resident tribes, the Southern Ute Indian Tribe of Ignacio and the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe of Towak, as well as their sister tribe, the Ute Indian Tribe of Fort Duchesne, Utah. The three Ute nations, currently made up of 7 bands, Kaputa, Mwach, Uncompahgre, Unta, Weminuch, White River, and Yampa, have played a unique and distinguished role in our state's history and culture, as well as provided vital contributions to government, medicine, education, religion, the environment, and the military. The members of the Colorado General Assembly remain committed to maintaining strong, respectful relationships between our state government and the sovereign Native American nations with whom we share this state. On request of Representatives Barbara McLaughlin and Mark Catlin and Senator Don Coram, given this 21st day of March 2019, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You may be seated. So today, March 21st, is Ute Day at the Capitol. For those of you who are lucky enough to be in the foyer this morning, they raised flags out that are now in the main chamber, and they're absolutely beautiful, and they will never let us forget how important the Ute tribes are to all of us in Colorado. Today we honor these tribes. They're an integral part of the culture, spirit, economy, and personality of the Southwest. They add so much to our communities. They add a love for our earth, a fellowship with each other, a symbiotic relationship with their surrounding communities, a deep love for family, and a strong devotion to spiritual traditions. Our Southwest counties would not be the same without these Ute tribes, and Representative Catlin and I are forever grateful for the contributions they make to our lives.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Today is a day of celebration, but it's a very serious day, too. Today, we have the pleasure of having the Ute Mountain Tribe, the Southern Utes, and the Ute Indian Tribe from Utah. It's the first time they've had an opportunity to be here with us as part of the sister tribes of the two here in Colorado. It's my honor to represent the Ute Mountain Tribe in Towak, Colorado. But it's also my honor to represent also the Southern Ute Tribe. This is a special day for them, and it should be a special day for us. They've came a long way. But one of the things I want to tell you is that they are a proud people, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud to represent them. They've taken care of this earth much longer than you and I have, much longer than our culture has. They truly love the earth, the mountains, the water, the sky, the wildlife. It's part of their nature. We could learn an awful lot from the tribes here in the state of Colorado. And I'm honored to pay this tribute to the people that have called this state home for a very long time. Thank you so very much for coming today, and thank you for being part of the state of Colorado. We are very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Representative McLaughlin,
Yes, I'm wondering if we can make some introductions today, Madam Speaker.
please proceed.
Okay, would you please stand when I call your name so that we can all recognize you and appreciate what you do for us. From the Southern Ute Tribe, Cultural Education Coordinator Hanley Frost, Senior. There he is on the end. Vice Chairwoman Cheryl Frost. Councilman Adam Redd. Tribal Royalty, Junior Miss Southern Ute Autumn Sage. Vice Commander of the Southern Ute Veteran Association, U.S. Navy, Rudley Weaver.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With us here today from the Ute Mountain Tribe is Chairman Harold Cuthair, Councilwoman Deanne House. Please stand. The tribal royalty with us today is Miss Ute Mountain, Kristen Hart. I met this young man earlier this morning, young warrior, Leland Collins Jr. Along with them is Gordon Hammond, U.S. Marine Corps.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And now Representative Catlin and I are both going to introduce the Ute Indian tribe, who now live in Utah, but it's only because they were expelled from Colorado, and we would like to welcome them back and treat them as our sister Ute tribe. So we have Tribal Leadership Chairman Luke Duncan, Councilman Sean Capoose, Councilman Sal Wapsock,
And with them is Little Miss Ute Tribe, Cedar Redfoot.
Lieutenant Governor Primavera.
okay.
And a lifetime member of the American Legion Post 126 in Fort Duchesne, Utah, U.S. Army, member of the Ute War Bonnet Society, Jonas Grant. Along with the Red Spirit Drum Group.
Representative McLaughlin.
And finally, we had a wonderful presentation this morning from our Lieutenant Governor, Diana Primavera, who's also in the back here with us today.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to ask for a 5-minute recess so that our representatives can go and congratulate and meet these wonderful members of Colorado.
The House will stand in recess for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
House will come back to order. Members, we have a lot of work to do. Please return to your seats. Okay. Representative McKean.
And Garnett.
And Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And folks, good morning and welcome to the Ute Indians. That's wonderful to have them here. We have another tribute that I would ask to be read at length.
The House of Representatives, convened in the 72nd General Assembly, hereby extends sincere commendations to Down Syndrome World Day. Down syndrome remains the most common chromosomal condition diagnosed in the United States. Down syndrome occurs when a baby develops an extra copy of the 21st chromosome during pregnancy, resulting in developmental and intellectual difficulties. Each year, about 6,000 babies born in the United States develop Down syndrome, which occurs in about 1 out of every 700 babies. While Down syndrome can't be cured, treatment and teaching life skills can go a long way to improve the individual's quality of life. The Colorado House of Representatives hereby recognizes March 21st as Down Syndrome World Day in Colorado. We support and empower people living with the condition to prosper and hope for a world in which all people with Down syndrome have the opportunity to enhance their quality of life, realize their life aspirations, and become valued members of welcoming communities. On request of Representatives Hugh McKean and Alec Garnett, given this 21st day of March, State Capitol in Denver.
Thank you, and folks, feel free to sit down. You guys many of you have met, many of you have heard about Colton Elijah Parks, who led you in the pledge this morning. He's looking up over here because he's sitting at my desk right now, which is his happy place, because occasionally there are cookies in that desk drawer, and that's not a bad thing to have. I got to know Colton a few years ago when my business partner and I started working a lot together, and I thought, you know, it is amazing what world opens up to you when you really get to see it through someone else's eyes. And so I usually bring Colton down to the well and hold him. He's about as heavy as a wet bale of hay at this point, and I can't hold a wet bale of hay like I used to. But what I mean by look at something through somebody else's eyes is truly what I mentioned a few weeks ago on International IDD Day, that Colton slows down everyone around him. And if you think about that, he truly makes you stop and pay attention to what's going on right then. Because his sense of time is that. It's kind of compressed to what's going on right now. So it was a little while back, he wanted to have a treasure hunt. And so I thought, you know, I'll go on a treasure hunt with this young man. And so he led me from his house down the street, and we were looking for treasure, and he would stop and look, and nope, that's not it. And we'd go on a little further, and he'd say, nope, that's not it. And I kept thinking, we're getting a little far from home. Should we turn around? Nope, we're on a treasure hunt. And it was late, and so it got dark, and I thought, we're never going to find this treasure. And on the way back to the house, he stopped, and he goes, I found it. And so I looked down to see if it was a cool rock or whatever else. He had found the shadow of a streetlight. And that boy loves shadows more than anybody I know, and so he was making his hand figures in these shadows. That was his treasure. Not many of us get to have that kind of a close personal relationship with somebody who changes the way we look at things, the way we think about them. But I would encourage you to find those opportunities, because that was treasure that day. And if you know me at all, you know that that boy holds my heart. And he's pretty much treasure to me too. So it is International Down Syndrome Day. It is March 21st, 321. He has 3 copies of his 21st chromosome, so it's a perfect day. But if you have a chance to say hi to Colton this morning, please do. There are a lot of new members here who have not gotten to meet this young man. He's pretty remarkable. So thank you for the tribute.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative McKean, for bringing this tribute forward today, allowing me to stand next to you. And it's just an honor for me to celebrate International Down Syndrome Day today on the floor of the House. It is 321. I don't know about all of you, but I have someone in my life who has helped me slow down and better understand and enjoy the little things. And so to Vivian, who you're probably not watching right now because I forgot about the tribute until earlier this morning, but I'm gonna make sure that I send you this clip. Thank you for helping me slow down, enjoy the little things, and to your parents for making sure that we all, in the tribute it says that, we want to make sure that everybody, including those with Down syndrome, have the opportunity for the best quality life possible. I would say that, Vivian, you have helped me better understand what quality really means, so thanks for that, and thank you, Representative McKean, for taking this moment to really celebrate Down Syndrome Day.
Thank you, members. Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I too have a tribute, and I ask that it be read at length.
The House of Representatives convened in the 72nd General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to Single Parents Day. Parents must invest immeasurable amounts of time, energy, and devotion when raising their children in order to provide them with the love, support, and guidance required to become responsible, productive, and successful adults. The responsibility of raising children in today's society is particularly difficult when it falls on the shoulders of a single parent. The number of single-parent families has more than tripled in the past 25 years, with more than 20 million U.S. children currently living in single-parent homes. The greatest need of every child is to be loved, whether the child lives in a single or two-parent family, and the dedication and achievement of single parents deserves the highest recognition. The members of the Colorado General Assembly are proud that Colorado has designated March 21st as Single Parents Day in recognition of the dedication and achievements of all single parents. On request of Representative Leslie Herod, given this 21st day of March 2019, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Herod.
Thank you. Members, be seated. I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the single parents. I was raised by a single mom and a village of many who took care of me and my brother, and single parents have it pretty tough, right? Working, raising their kids, and so many other things that they have to do to just make ends meet or make it through. But they're strong, they're tough, they're resilient, and we should all be so proud of them. I also want to acknowledge Ms. Moglin, who's currently in the Senate. She started Single Parents Day in 1993. And if you can imagine, 1993, being a single parent wasn't something that was always celebrated. And she fought to ensure that there was a Single Parents Day, not only in Colorado, but throughout the country, and even has letters of commendation from presidents. She is here every year asking for a Single Parents Day tribute or resolution. She always gets it because she's a single mom, and that's what happens. She knows how to fight. And so if you see her around the building, do wish her well and tell her thank you for really working to change the stigma that used to exist around being a single parent. And so now I just want all of the members who are raised by a single parent or who are single parents to just please stand. Thank you so much. And of course, I know that you all stand with me in giving this tribute to pay honor to your single parent and all the work that they have done to get you all here today. So thank you, members, for your time, and thank you for this tribute.
Thank you, Representative Herod. Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a tribute to tributes. No, it's this is a tribute to rural schools, and I'd like it read, please. Thank you.
The House of Representatives convened in the 72nd General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to rural schools in Colorado. In Colorado, 147 of the 178 school districts are designated as rural by the Colorado Department of Education, making them a cornerstone of our state's K-12 system. Rural districts are frequently one of the largest employers in their area and often serve as the social, recreational, and cultural foundation of their communities. Each rural school is unique with regard to specific strengths and challenges, but virtually all rural schools are facing critical workforce shortages and changing student demographics while working to increase the opportunities available to rural students. Rural schools' smaller size makes them able to effectively engage and respond to their community's needs while providing support to students based on their individual needs. Rural schools have been hit hard by the budget stabilization factor and have less capacity to absorb cuts due to their smaller staffs and budgets. Despite these challenges, rural schools remain committed and united in their commitment to increasing resources and sharing best practices to ensure that all of Colorado's students have access to a world-class education. We, the Colorado State House of Representatives, recognize and express our appreciation to Colorado rural public school employees for their work and dedication, and encourage all Coloradans to continue to support those who educate our state's children and youth in rural areas. On request of Representatives Barbara McLaughlin and Jim Wilson, given this 21st day of March 2019, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and members, please remain standing. No. It's just neat to see this many people standing for rural, so I just couldn't, but please be seated. Colleagues, it's an amazing day. We've had these tributes, and rural schools are certainly the backbone of Colorado and the backbone of America. Oftentimes, we overlook the fact that, as we read that, 147 out of 178 school districts are classified as rural. So when we talk about rural, and you all look over towards me over there because you think I'm the only rural guy here, I'm not. We all are. And we need to recognize that fact. It's a different world in rural. 43 superintendents of those districts serve as building principals in addition to their superintendent role. At one time, I was a superintendent and school counselor in a rural district. We do what we have to do. And the rural schools are the ones who, when we talk about in the urban areas, we talk about a community school. Guess what? In rural, it is the community. And when you lose a school in rural Colorado, you lose the community. That's why it's so valuable. And it's also a different world in which, as a superintendent, on the opening day of school, I'm in front of every student in that district. Every student. And one of the things that the late Representative Buckner and I always talked about, he had more students in his high school than over 100 school districts had people in their community. And it took about a year and a half for Representative Buckner to understand that. And once he understood it, then he could understand where I was coming from with that rural piece. So thank you for honoring the rural schools, and thank you, rural schools, for being here.
Representative McLaughlin.
I just want to say I just love the schools in my district. They work so hard with so little. When you live in Durango and you need to play football in your league, we get to drive to Colorado Springs for our league. So it's not like you take an hour off. You spend a whole day driving there and a whole day driving back. And that's the next nearest school that's our size. So it's a lot harder than you might think it is out there, but I just truly appreciate the rural teachers, the educators, principals, a couple of superintendents up there, I see. So, but thank you very much for all you do for our kids. And can I have everybody who represents rural school districts up there to stand up so we can applaud you, please? They came a long way today.
Thank you for joining us today. Representative Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And on to that, I just want to comment about rural schools. And since I have the most counties in rural area, I'm sure I have the most rural schools. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure. I didn't do the count. I just know that busing kids to activities, athletics, all kinds of activities is a really big deal in rural schools. And as a small child growing up on a ranch, a cattle ranch, we didn't have a bus come to our door. So we would have to go meet the bus. And when my mom and dad were both working cattle, we got on at 5:30. And it was 75 miles to Kim from 9 of you because they would go in and out of people's places. So 5 days a week, we would get on at 5:30. So it was a long day, and God bless that bus driver. So thank you.
Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I did do the count. I have 20% of the rural schools in my district, 29 of them. Talking about school bus drivers, Representative Will's dad was my school bus driver when I was growing up. But I'm constantly amazed at what these rural schools can do whenever the dollars become less and less. They still find a way to turn out good, qualified, educated kids. So I know there were some school board members from one of my schools out in Bethune. I don't see them in the gallery, but thank you for what you do.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, members. I have an ode to the lost bill. I walked into these chambers. I had a bill in hand. Alas, I cannot find it. Please help me if you can. So I walked in with the bill in a manila folder. It hasn't been introduced yet. It has some supporting documents, and it has the greenback for signatures. I've set it somewhere. If anybody sees that, please return it to my desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Landgraf. I have one introduction to make. Former House Minority Leader and former Congressman from CD2, David Skaggs, is here. Congressman Skaggs is here with some members of his church. Every year he comes after auctioning a trip to the Capitol for his church. So thanks for being with us again this year. Representative Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, again. This morning in the chamber, we have some people here that have come from all over the state to be with us, and they're here for the Sportsman's Caucus. It's big game forever. A couple of them are from my district over in Lincoln County. So they're over here to the right. Guys and gals, if you'll stand up, we'll welcome you, and let's welcome them as they are here today. Thank you.
Any other? Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, tying into Representative Lewis's announcement there, if you come to the Sportsman's Caucus today, you can hear about wolves and Hydatidic disease. If you haven't heard of that before, it's because you probably haven't heard about it before, but it's in Colorado, and it's living in some of our animals, and it's actually in humans. So please come and listen to that. And the Rural Alliance that's here, the rural schools that are here, are coordinating with us with the Sportsman's Caucus. So if you want to contact those people who are here, come down to the hot dog day down on first floor, or down in the basement today, and they will be there, and you can visit with those folks from the rural schools, have a hot dog, and then go in and hear about the wolf problem that's coming into Colorado. Thank you.
Representative Hooton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, this morning I have the honor to introduce you to my sister, Mercy Russell from Sebastopol, California. She's here visiting me and her son, who is a student at Colorado College. Welcome, Mercy.
Representative McKean.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Folks, I'm here to remind you of the Energy Caucus today. We're having a lunch at the University Club at noon. It will be a fascinating discussion. We will not be discussing wolves, believe it or not, but what we will be doing is talking about some real global principles about energy that will inform a lot of our discussions here in this building. So at the University Club at noon, I look forward to seeing you there.
Seeing no other announcements and introductions, that brings us to general order, second reading of bills. Representative Duran. You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Duran will take the chair. Hey.
to say I'd like to call to order. I'd like to call to order. The committee will come to order. With their unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading the bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads, and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the Colt rule is relaxed. Mr. Randall, will you please read the title of the first bill?
House Bill 1174, Representatives Esgar and Catlin, also Senators Gardner and Pedersen, concerning out-of-network health care services provided to covered persons.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
And it's an honor to serve with you.
I move House Bill 1174, the Health Insurance Committee and the Appropriations Committee reports.
Thank you. To the Appropriations report.
In Appropriations Committee, we simply applied the appropriation. I ask for an aye vote.
See no further discussion to the Appropriations report. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor, say no.
No!
The ayes have it. The Appropriations report passes. Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Health Insurance Committee, I brought this notebook up here not only to help me with the bill, but to help you understand why we did 10 amendments in the Health Insurance Committee. We started talking about this bill this year. We've been talking about this bill for many years, but we started talking about this bill this year, the beginning of January, and we had over 60 people in a room for stakeholding. We did stakeholder meeting after stakeholder meeting after stakeholder meeting with hospitals, with insurance companies, with doctors, with specialists. That's what this notebook shows. This shows all of the work we did, all of the suggestions we took and made amendments for. So I'd be remiss if I didn't explain why there was 10 different amendments within the committee in health insurance to make sure that we were taking care of concerns that we heard while we were doing the stakeholding for the bill. So with that, I ask for an aye vote on the Health Insurance Committee report. Oh, one moment. Okay.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's not approve the committee report yet. We actually have 2 amendments to the committee report because the stakeholder process continued after the Health Insurance Committee. So I would like to move Amendment L026. Just getting our process down. Sorry, folks. I move Amendment L028 to the committee report.
The amendment is properly before us. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, you should have received this. It is a multi-page amendment. We heard concerns during the Health Insurance Committee around being able to issue a report and also to create an arbitration process. We listened, and the reason why this was 3 pages is because we wanted to just put it all together in one amendment. This amendment ensures that the reporting requirements that were added via an amendment during the committee go to the Department of Insurance, and that the Department of Insurance will issue a report now to the legislative health committees to post the report on their website. We heard concerns that we wanted to make sure that the providers who are saying this is going to help with health care costs prove that. And that's what the reporting in this amendment does. It actually takes that report that is going to the DOI and issues a report back to us, the General Assembly, and our health committees. And it also creates an arbitration process that will allow providers and facilities to dispute out-of-network payments in certain situations when the complexity of the case may warrant even a higher payment. So we heard loud and clear that they wanted a way to really make sure that if they needed to go to arbitration and determine the best way forward that was available, we understood, we concur. That's Amendment L028.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Representative Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just a quick question on the amendment for the sponsors. Does this amendment, I appreciate the arbitration, does this amendment actually allow for, if there are multiple different cases going through arbitration at once, can they actually aggregate all those to just kind of save on efficiencies, or would they have to do it on a case-by-case basis?
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Minority Leader. We actually discussed that, and when we're looking out for the consumers, we want to make sure each case is able to really be balanced and taken seriously and have the time and the space in that arbitration to make sure each consumer is able to have their own time in front of the arbitrator as well.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Neville?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, so so they'd have to do it individually, and then again, this is the insurance companies actually dealing with the providers. So this is, I mean, the consumers under this are actually held harmless anyway. So this is really the insurance debating the hospitals.
Representative Escar.
You're absolutely right, Minority Leader. We just wanted to make sure that each case had the attention it deserved, and it's case by case.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Amendment L028 passes. Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask for an aye vote on the committee report.
Where am I? The question before us is the adoption of health and insurance report. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill.
You got to move the bill, though.
We did.
Representative Escar.
Oh,
We moved it.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair. Yes, Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Thank you. I got an opportunity to get on this bill, and there were two reasons I wanted to. First, I wanted to be on a bill with Representative Escar. She really works hard. Look at this notebook, and there's a lot more notes in her office than just the notebook. She's had a number of different meetings with stakeholders. She's been open to talking to people. She was open to talking to me, helping me get up to speed on this bill. You know, it's been a great privilege to work with her on this bill. I've probably been more dead weight than I've been help, but she's been great in helping me. The other reason that I'm on this bill is that in rural Colorado particularly, we're suffering. What's happening is people are going into the hospital on elective surgeries, for example, checking all the blocks to make sure that they're in network. And after the surgery and they're in the process of getting well, they get a large bill from someone they didn't recognize, from someone they didn't know was part of their medical team. And we call it surprise billing, but in reality, it's out-of-network billing. You know, I have a story from an individual out here on the Eastern Plains. He had a surgery. He was in the process of getting well. He got a bill for $83,000. $83,000 out-of-network billing. You know, he came to Denver. He's talked to a couple of other representatives. The man is honest. He's straight and he's square. And he wants to pay his bills. So one of the things he thinks about is putting a mortgage on his farm. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, this needs to stop. Losing your farm or losing your home to a medical situation seems to me to be outside the sideboards of what you and I think Colorado's medical health is. This bill is an opportunity to address that. There's been an awful lot of work put into this bill. There's probably still work to be done. But in the meantime, this is one of those bills that we can pass today that could have and will have a distinct impact on the people that live in your districts, because it's not just rural Colorado that this is happening to. But it's a little more now pronounced in rural Colorado because of the fact we don't have as many folks. So we talk about it at the coffee shop, at the parts store, and in the grocery store. This is a big deal, folks. Believe me. And I would ask you for a yes vote on 1174.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Representative Catlin. It's a true honor to serve with you and to work on this bill with you, and you are nothing like dead weight. You have helped bring so much clarity and so much understanding from how common sense this bill is and how much we need to be sure we are holding the consumers, people, Coloradans, harmless in these situations. This is a major issue, folks. It's an issue that we've been working on for years in Colorado and at the national level. There was even an NBC Nightly News story this week where one of our own Coloradans was a part of this news story about this billing practice. My job when I started working on this was to find a way to make sure we literally held everyone accountable, made everybody give a little bit, to be sure that our Coloradans aren't dealing with these surprise bills. I've heard so many stories during the processes of the last few years of working on this issue. Literally people getting bills up to 2 years later for thousands of dollars that they didn't think they owed. Liens being put on people's homes because of a bill they didn't even know they owed because their insurance provider, who they pay premiums to, and the doctor or the facility couldn't figure out a way how to make the bills jive. So the bill gets sent to the consumer without them even knowing it. Folks, this is a big issue. This is a big problem. And literally, we all have to give a little bit to make sure that we are taking care of Coloradans. That's what this bill does. That's why there's been extensive stakeholder work. In fact, you all saw this on the calendar on Monday. I continued the stakeholder work through the week, and I even have a meeting planned this afternoon to see if we can still find a way to get everybody on the same page. Folks, this bill has gone through the ringer and made sure that we are taking care of Coloradans. I ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion?
Oh, I have an amendment.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Amendment L026.
Seeing Amendment L026 displayed. Representative Escar.
Thank you. It's actually a technical amendment. It's a cleanup amendment. The amendment ensures that the Department of Insurance can enforce the bill with carriers in both scenarios. The introduced version accidentally didn't include enforcement for paying the rate in the bill in emergency situations, and we wanted to just make sure that we clarified the technical issue. So that's a technical amendment. I ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L026. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. L026 passes. Where am I? Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1174?
Go ahead.
Representative Tipper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Members, this issue is so near and dear to my heart. It's one of the reasons that I ran for office. People's lives are ruined by medical debt. They lose everything, their farm, their house, their entire life savings. And I cannot thank the bill sponsors enough for bringing this bill, for working this bill, because as some of you know, I tried to bring 2 bills to address medical debt. Most of the stories had to do with surprise billing. So this cuts exactly to the issue underlying that medical debt, and I can't thank you guys enough. I will be a strong support and ask all of you to strongly support this bill.
Is there any further discussion? Yes, Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the concerns that I had with the bill was an amendment, and I should have probably came up with the first report, but the amendment that moves Denver Health and Hospital Authority into a greater reimbursement is something that I hope that really can be studied as it goes to the Senate. It just seemed like it was very specific to a district, and really we didn't have the numbers to really understand why that would be important. I know that many believe that moving that reimbursement up to 200% of let me see what it is. 200% of the Medicare rate would be more appropriate, especially for doctors. And so I hope that the Senate really does take a good look at that. And of course, this isn't any real transparency for the consumer. And that's something that I have continued to try to move forward, that thought that actually the consumer would know how much they were going to be charged at the time of service. This almost buries the pricing a little bit deeper. When we heard it in committee, we all know, and we have known for years, that there is some real predatory billing that happens. And this is capping the reimbursement, and that is good for out-of-network. But my concern is until we get real true transparency that we're never going to be able to drive down cost. So I hope the sponsor will work on the 200% reimbursement rate for Denver Health and Hospital Authority. I know there are other hospitals that have really specific issues around the state of Colorado, and a lot of doctors that believe that reimbursement it's just too low. And it does impact doctors, and there is a concern that some of them are, they need to make a good living. They have a lot of school loans, and they're paying back a lot of the school loans. And so those are just the issues I had with the bill, and I wish I would have came up with the committee report. But so I hope that they can, as you move forward, resolve those.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Beckman, to your points, we absolutely are continuing to have conversations. There is absolutely no reason we have to harm the docs. And in fact, we've had ongoing conversations with physicians. I have individual physicians I have spoken with who understand what this bill is doing and support the bill as written. We have some physicians who feel this could harm them. We also have some physicians who are the outliers who specifically work out of network to make a profit. So unfortunately, because of the actions of some, we're having to find a way to take care of all of this and find a way to move forward without harming the docs, which we feel we're not. I'm hearing that we could be harming docs, so the conversation will continue, but at this point, we feel like everybody has had to give a little bit on this bill, and so far, that includes doctors, insurance carriers, and the hospitals have all had to give a little bit to move on this bill. This has been an ongoing conversation between all of them for so long. We have to step in and do something, but as I say, the conversation will continue, but for now, we're happy with the way we have the bill.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Montine.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank Representative Escar and Representative Catlin for all the work that they have done. This is an issue that I believe is really driving a lot of our premium costs higher and higher. And I want to give you a couple of examples that were given to us in committee by a man who is an insurance broker, and he also is a member of the Colorado State Association of Health Underwriters, also known as CSAHU. And he came up and told us a couple of stories that his clients had come to him with in dealing with this specific issue. And so this is the first story he gave us, which is probably the most egregious thing I've ever heard of, but you should all hear this. The first claim is from a scheduled surgery where the member did their due diligence and made sure the hospital, Skyridge in this instance, the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, and anyone else that was going to be involved in the surgery was in network. About a month after the surgery, the member received 3 out-of-network bills. One was from the surgeon, one from a company that provided technical equipment in the operating room, and one from a provider that was not in the surgical room to monitor the technical equipment. The surgeon, who the member confirmed was in network, had 2 tax IDs, one for normal working hours in network and one for outside of normal working hours that was out of network, and that's what he used it for. Of course, the surgery was scheduled during the out-of-network hours. This resulted in total billed charges from the surgeon of $26,161. If the surgeon had billed in network, he would have been reimbursed roughly $3,500. The technical equipment had its own tax ID, which is also out of network. The billed charges from the equipment were $258,000, and if these charges had been billed in network, the company would have received around $1,000. The physician to monitor the equipment out of network billed $154,250. If these charges were billed in network, the provider would have received around $1,000. To recap the numbers, total out-of-network claims charged to the member, which the carrier had to pay, was $48,811 in one surgery that their insurance company had to pay. And guess what? We all get to pay in increased premiums when these sorts of things happen. Had these services been in network, the paid charges would have been approximately $5,500. When carriers must pay these abusive and usury charges, they're passed along to all of us in premiums in future years. The second claim resulted from a member being taken by ambulance after a bicycle accident to an out-of-network hospital emergency room. There were 8 different billed charges, including 2 different hospitals, miscellaneous fees totaling $15,721, and an emergency room fee of $11,174. And the 8 total billed out-of-network charges were $53,968. If these had been billed in network, the reimbursement rate would have been approximately $5,050. So this is the kind of things that we are talking about. These are the kind of things that are driving up healthcare costs for all of us. So I ask for your support of House Bill 1174 so we can start to work on addressing these issues. Thank you.
Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When I came to Denver after being elected, new freshman, didn't know how to do anything, I just sat down and had a visit with Representative Catlin, and I'd like to thank him, Representative Asgar, for working on this. The story he told about the farmer out in the Eastern Plains was one of my constituents. It's a phone call that got me really thinking about this issue, and so when I talked to Representative Catlin, that kind of got the conversation going, and I just appreciate everything that they've done to make this bill come forward. It's devastating to our farmers. He did his due diligence. He had called and made sure the hospital's in network, surgeon was in network, everything he could do. And when he started getting the bills, it was devastating. So I am in full support of this bill, and I hope you will too.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to let you know what I've been hearing from my district. I did vote no on this bill in committee because I've been hearing from anesthesiologists. I have 2 hospitals in my district, so of course there are a lot of hospital employees that live in my district. And some of the things that they've been saying, and this is why I know that some of this has been addressed by the amendments, and I do thank the sponsors for bringing forth the amendments because I think that they're getting closer to trying to address the real problem, which I agree, surprise billing is a problem. But what I'm hearing from constituents of mine is that this bill will actually cause too many to quit practicing or to leave the state, because some of the small individual practitioners that are not in network at all, what I'm being told, that they would be afraid then to keep practicing because they wouldn't be able to make their payroll and keep their offices open. But some of what I'm here, I'll just read a couple of the bullet points in this one email, that they think it would, they were saying, this one constituent is saying it would decrease the quality of care, especially in emergency and operatory rooms, by bringing in foreign trained doctors who can, and she was afraid of that. But more importantly, that it would affect all physicians, many of whom will move out of state because their rates will drop to meet the ceiling set by the bill. And she felt that would reduce quality of care. Affect the entire practice of out-of-network physicians who take night and vacation call shifts for other physicians. I think that's a big problem. People that are working in groups where they are on call and they go around to other practices and cover vacation shifts or cover on-call shifts, that they may or may not be in network, and to take time to wait around to figure out if they're in network or not could cost lives. They were worried about the market-driven forces, and they don't want to hire more costly in-network physicians to cover for out-of-network shortages. She was, again, worried about poor quality of care. And finally, the biggest problem was that they would drive out-of-network quality senior physician providers out of the state and make them practice elsewhere. And we have people that are that have been living in Colorado and practicing here for years and have a lot of experience, and I don't want them to feel like they're not welcome here just because they don't join insurance networks. So I do urge a no vote on the bill for my constituents and for the two hospitals in my district that are asking for a no vote. And I thank you for your time.
Representative Garavero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is an honor to serve with you.
And it's an honor to serve with you.
And it is honestly an honor to serve with Representatives Esgar and Catlin. And I am very glad that they brought this issue forward. As a physician, I had conversations with many other physicians, including the day that the bill was before us in committee. And I was out in the lobby speaking with one doctor who's part of a medical association, and I said, none of us went to medical school to gouge patients and to cheat them. And he actually stopped me in the middle of the sentence, and he said, well, you know what? Apparently some of us did. Because there are serious outliers. Representative and Catlin and I were just talking about him. He was calling them cowboys. There are cowboys out there who outliers who are charging 800, 900% of Medicare for absolutely no reason, just because they can make money off of somebody who is in a moment of crisis. And as a doctor, that is not why I became a doctor. Now, I agree with Representative Beckman. I think we can continue to work on what the fair rates are going to be to ensure that some doctors are not unintentionally harmed by this. But this leaves primary care doctors out of this bill, and it is really, the intent of it is to take out the outliers that are driving up healthcare costs by preying on their patients, basically. So I am in full support of this bill. I thank the sponsors for all of the work that they've done. They have been able to really give a lot to all sides, everybody that's involved in this. And I know that they will continue to work with them and may be able to give a little bit more. But I think that this is going to be really important for the consumers and the patients that we all should be taking care of and not putting in the middle of negotiations.
Representative Tatone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Members, I sat in the committee for this one, and I know that Representative Catlin and Representative Esgar did a lot of work on this and a lot of stakeholder work. This is years of work to get this bill to where it is. I know that the EMS and the fire service are really happy about the amendments that were put into place here to make sure that they were carved out, to make sure that they have the ability to cover their costs. And a lot of my constituents, honestly, came up to me when I was talking to them about the high cost of health care, and they asked me to run a bill similar to this. And when I found out that this bill was happening, I was grateful that it was already going on and all the work that had gone into this already. So on behalf of my constituents and myself, I thank the sponsors of this bill for bringing this forward.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none? Representative Malika?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I came down here because I wanted to represent what I do for a living, and that's that I'm a nurse. I'm an emergency room nurse. And so I deal with people and I care for people in some of their most difficult times. And they have no choice oftentimes in being in this emergency room and going through what they're going through. If it's a car accident, if it's to come in because they're having stomach pain or whatever it may be. And oftentimes I'll send those patients to surgery or they get admitted to the hospital in an emergent situation. And in those emergent situations, they don't get to choose who their doctor is. They don't get to choose who that anesthesiologist is or that surgeon is because it's an emergent situation. Members, people shouldn't be going bankrupt. People shouldn't be losing their houses because they don't have a choice or because they don't get to choose who their surgeon is or because they don't get to choose who that anesthesiologist is and that person happens to be out of network. I came down here because I care about people and because I want to fight for my patients, and that's what I'm doing. And that's what this bill does. This bill protects the patients that I care for. It protects the fact that they shouldn't be losing their house because of something that they don't get to choose. And I want to thank the sponsors for bringing it forward because at the end of the day, this is what's best for the patients, and this is going to be protecting the patients. So thank you, and I urge an aye vote.
Representative Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also serve on the Health Committee and had the opportunity to hear this bill. And I serve on that committee not because I have some background in healthcare. I serve on that committee because I am the average person, and the average person who has been impacted both in my husband's life and now currently in my own personal life by what is going on in our healthcare system. I didn't say a whole lot during that particular committee hearing because I was in my office when one of the people who testified in favor of this bill, when I got a phone call telling me that I owed $3,000 because of an out-of-network billing issue. I, too, had done my due diligence. I had checked the hospital. I had checked the doctors because I know this stuff happens. And it still happened to me. And I don't know how any of you would respond to somebody saying, cough up $3,000. It is not a pleasant experience. So I stand strongly on the side of the regular person, the consumer. And I too urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Yes, Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I actually agree that the surprise billing is a problem. And I want to thank the two people that just spoke on behalf of regular citizens that are concerned about surprise billing. And thank you, too, for our nurse that came up and explained, because you know what, you're a regular person, too, that also will get hospital bills as well as being a provider. And I do want to let you know that some of the emails I received, again, I received many emails from hospital employees before this bill came up. And here's one from someone that lives in Parker, Colorado, in my district. As a hospital employee, I know firsthand how hard nurses, doctors, and all of the employees work to provide care to our patients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She thanks you for your hard work, Representative Mullica. She thanks you. And but then she goes on to say, it costs a lot to maintain services for the expected and especially the unexpected. We all agree that opportunities exist to work together towards affordable health care. and we want to not have these unintended consequences. But again, she's very concerned with the restrictions on billing on this bill, because you know what, the hospital employees are people too, and I think they're concerned as well with the ability to be able to stay afloat. And if we start setting ceilings on billing, apparently, obviously, some of these hospitals and hospital employees are concerned. As a hospital employee, I know firsthand that some of our most critical care services will face cuts if this bill passes. And I think that is something that we should all be concerned about. We do not want to start fearing unintended consequences by trying to solve a problem that I think we all exist as a problem. I think we all agree that we don't want to have the surprise billing, but I think that there has to be other ways than what this bill is forcing, at least for, again, my constituents, which are that are hospital employees, from doctors, from the head of the hospital, all the way down to staff workers in the hospital that are very concerned about the unintended consequences of this bill. Again, I urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, this is definitely a complex bill, and there's definitely been a lot of work in this building by the sponsors, people that have interest in it. I think there's 100% agreement on the surprise billing aspect of it. I don't think there's any disagreement there. I think some of the contention is the reimbursements that are in this bill. So you have basically, if there's an insurance provider that provides a reimbursement in a certain geographic area, and they go visit an out-of-network, it's the highest that they negotiate within that area. Or if they're not in the area, it's the median of all of the insurance providers in there too. But the one that really concerns me is the reimbursement rate that's pegged at 125% of Medicare. That rate is, it's not a really well thought out rate, and I don't think it's really even a rate that providers can be profitable on or really even cover their costs. So, I've spoken to the sponsors on this, and I want to move. I do move L029.
The amendment is properly before us. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, members, again, this just basically eliminates that one, payment that I have concerns with, that I think is. Again, it's the 125% of the Medicare reimbursement, which I don't think is high enough for them to cover their costs. So this eliminates that one benchmark, so to say.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Minority Leader, for talking with me about this and kind of working with me through it. We always wanted it to be sure, the three benchmarks, we always wanted to make sure that it was always going to be the greater of those three. And this one was always intended to really be the basement. Again, as the stakeholder work continues even right here on the floor, I would consider this a friendly amendment.
Representative Caraveo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Minority Leader Neville, thank you very much for bringing this forward. I think this will do a lot to address the concerns of doctors. Medicare, because of the way that it is calculated, that rate can be doesn't go up as high as fast as inflation does. While I think this was intended to be a basement, I think that doctors will be very happy knowing that that the rates are not tied to Medicare, and that the other two calculations will take precedence. So I think this is a great amendment, and I fully support it.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Minority Leader Neville. It's well thought out. That's the point of this bill, is trying to find something that will work. As Representative Esgar said, stakeholder work goes on the floor of the House. But this is the kind of thing that we're trying to do, is to make this piece of legislation be something that will work in the state of Colorado. I would encourage a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment?
Humphrey.
Representative Humphrey. Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to thank the the sponsors for accommodating the amendment. Appreciate that, and I think it's an improvement to the bill. Thank you.
Any further discussion? We will take a short recess. The committee will come back to order. Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We just needed to clarify some technical things, but I do again ask for an aye vote on this amendment.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of L029. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The amendment passes. To the bill, is there any further discussion? Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I do appreciate all the work on this. I think, like I said earlier, there's no argument against the surprise billing. I still don't think the bill's perfect. I would still like to see the aggregation of the arbitration. But that said, I think that the bill's now at a point where there's more good in it than bad, and I will be a yes vote, and I appreciate the sponsors for working with me.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Baisley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I was also on the committee that reviewed this, and this is quite the issue. I've heard quite a bit from my constituents about surprise billing, and probably a lot of us in the room, including myself, have received a surprise bill. So it boils down to the disconnect, I'll say the dysfunction of the overall healthcare ecosystem, and this hits patients, voters, more than anything else. The multiple amounts of an outside, someone who's out of network who is providing a service that's necessary, and that billing not coming in through their insurance, and it's a surprise, and sometimes it is many times larger than what they would have gotten if it were an in-network provider, and then those patients end up in collections a lot of times. So this is something that needs to be addressed, and I appreciate the sponsors a lot for bringing this forward and working this. Thank you, Representative Catlin and Escar. But I want to take the moment to say this. I do not like the idea of us making law to interject into private industry. But private industry, sometimes, especially in an area that's critical where you need the service, you cannot do without the service. It's an emergency many times. And so people are not behaving in a nice, professional way to really take care of the patient. To folks that have that mindset, stop doing that, because laws get made to control your behavior. I don't want to be making laws to control a professional's behavior, the behavior of a profession. So let's figure out, how do we treat each other well, provide excellence for a reasonable price plus reasonable profit, and take good care of our patients, and not behave in ways that will call on a legislature to come and make laws to control professional behavior. Let's not do that anymore. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1174. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. House Bill 1174 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title of the next bill.
House Bill 1225, Representatives Harrod and Soper, concerning prohibiting the use of monetary bail for certain levels of offenses except in certain circumstances.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1225 in the Judiciary Committee report.
Thank you. To the Judiciary report.
The Judiciary Committee made some small amendments to the bill to conform with the request from the Colorado Municipal League. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption
Sounds good.
of Judiciary report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The Judiciary report passes. To the bill. Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd first like to move the bill. No, I move the bill. Sorry, I move House Bill 1225 as amended in the committee. Okay.
Properly moved.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a very historic day for Colorado. Not only did we have all three Ute Indian bands here in the chamber earlier, but this bill is a major step forward for Colorado. Courts across America have been holding wealth-based detention to be unconstitutional and a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. Other courts have held it's a violation of the Eighth Amendment. The excessive bail shall not be required. And it's a violation of one of our most sacred legal doctrines, innocent until proven guilty. That's right, House Bill 1225 gets at the fact that poverty is not a crime. Members, I hope you're listening to this. It's true. Poverty is not a crime. I'd like to repeat that again. Our Constitution prohibits excessive bail, yet most of the most impoverished in society remain in jail, unable to pay these extremely low bonds, and the collateral consequences are high. They include losing your job, broken families, and housing insecurity. Let me tell you a story, a factual pattern. A person is arrested for loitering. The bond is set at $100. The person has no money. We heard testimony in committee from the bail industry that they would not bail someone out for a mere $100 bond because they stand to make no money on that bond. So this individual remains in jail. And heaven forbid you're in a small town where the municipal court only meets maybe once or twice a month. You will remain in jail until your court date because you cannot post bond. How many days could any of us sit in jail before our employer would say, look, I'm not entirely sure I want that person working for me? Or how long could we sit in jail without working and still be able to make next month's rent or mortgage payments? And how long could we sit in jail before our loved ones say, enough is enough, and call for a separation or a divorce or something else? And it's not a conviction. These are innocent people that have yet to face trial and their accuser, who might be the state. This is happening all over Colorado. In 13,000 cases every single year, these are low-level petty offenses in Colorado, excluding Denver. I'm sorry, but we'll withdraw Denver. My partner in crime here. Yeah. This bill restores what our founders wanted originally. It also sets forward ensuring that jail space is safe for the worst offenders in society. Right now, up to 50% of all of our jail spaces are filled with people awaiting trial, and the vast majority of these are low-level petty offenders waiting trial in municipal court. I would just like to add one last thing, that jail beds are really expensive. On average in Colorado, it's $85 a day. As a matter of fact, Coloradans are spending $640,000 a day to house low-level petty offenders in jail. Or if you're doing the math, that's $23 million a year that we're spending for innocent people who have yet to be convicted of a crime. It's good fiscal policy, it's good constitutional policy, and it's the right, fair, and just thing to do to vote yes on this bill. So I ask for a yes vote.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're doing great up there, and it's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
As my co-prime sponsor, Representative Soper from Mesa County said, poverty is not a crime. Yet on any given day in Colorado, thousands of innocent people sit in our jails simply because they cannot afford to pay their monetary bond. And a lot of these Coloradans are charged with the pettiest of crimes. We're talking about offenses like trespassing, sleeping on a park bench, or shoplifting less than $50 worth of goods. These individuals have not yet had a trial. They are, in fact, innocent. And in disregard to our democratic principle that we are innocent until proven guilty, we hold these people in jail simply because they are poor. If you are one with money and you can pay the bond, you're out. If you have little or no means, good luck. And our jails are severely overcrowded. In Judiciary Committee, we heard that one of our jails is at 194% capacity. 194%. Colorado's jail population has skyrocketed over the years, and the biggest spike is in our pretrial population. Jail beds are not cheap, and they should be reserved for those individuals who present a true risk to our community. And there are racial disparities at every stage in Colorado's criminal justice system. And so it's not surprisingly that jail is no exception. For example, here in Denver, 10% of our residents are African American, but they make up 30% of our jail population. It is also estimated that people in jail are 4 times more likely to have a disability, and more than half have a psychiatric condition. House Bill 1225 takes one significant step toward honoring our constitutional principle of innocent until proven guilty. It ensures that the mere accusation of a crime does not result in jail stays that can rip families apart and potentially cause job loss, and so much more. House Bill 1225 says that if you are charged with a crime less than a misdemeanor, a petty crime, that you ought not sit in jail. The alleged offenses we are talking about present minimal, if any, harm or risk to society. They are often victimless offenses. And even when a person may be found guilty, there's actually no jail sentence tied with that crime. No jail sentence. Bond reform is coming to Colorado. And I want to thank the people who have been working tirelessly to help to bail out people who cannot afford to get out of jail. Folks like the Colorado Freedom Fund, who's led by Elizabeth Epps. These people are saying that this is a broken system, but we are going to do everything we can to ensure that the collateral consequences affect less people. We have to change our bail system in Colorado. House Bill 1225 is one step forward. I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Soper.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to reemphasize one point that my colleague made up here. The vast majority of these offenses, upon conviction, are not even jailable. Think about it. You could actually be sitting in jail because you can't afford bond, and it's actually better for you to plead guilty to get out of jail because the underlying offense itself is not jailable. So once again, I'd like to ask for a yes vote.
Representative Sandridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I really hate to spend money. I really do, especially the taxpayers' money. And, when we're housing nonviolent offenders, gosh, that costs a lot. People who may have stole a Snickers bar, we're spending, in many cases, hundreds of dollars to put them through the processes. Here's what scares me. El Paso County Jail is actually busting at the seams. Busting at the seams. And our sheriff is on the edge of coming to us for $100 million. $100 million to build another jail. We could use that $100 million on something else. I looked into this. What kind of people are at the jail? The majority of them are there for pretrial. They're there for pretrial processes, and this bill covers that. You know, I'm curious of how much money this bill could save. It could be substantial. When you're dealing with El Paso County, majority of the people there are for pretrial processes, and you take these people out and ease up the tension on that jail, and then they do not ask for $100 million to build another jail, that is substantial savings. So, and something just to make clear, on just a different note, again, this does not include violent offenders. And it also includes, or doesn't edit out, anybody with a bench warrant. If they don't go to trial and they get a bench warrant, they're not going to get released on this due to this bill. So I'm really curious about how much money this thing could save. And with that said, hopefully you'll support it. Thank you.
Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a couple of questions. One is, what happens if if this passes and the person gets out and they just continue to repeat the offense? And the other is, it's really against the law to sit on a bench? That was my other question. I think you said that, if they're in jail for sitting on a bench, because, yeah, I'm going to arrest all three of you sitting on the bench. And it should be a crime to lose a green folder with a bill in it that needs signatures. So if anybody's holding on to that, let me know.
Representative Liston. Representative Soper.
Just in answering a couple of your questions. So I'll answer the last question first, which is sitting on a park bench a crime? Yes, it can be a crime. It would be considered trespass if the city has passed an ordinance, particularly for you not to be in that location from certain hours to certain hours. So it's really typical to have a city pass an ordinance saying you cannot be in a park from dusk until dawn, which means if you're sleeping on the park bench, you're both loitering and trespassing, which potentially could be 2 municipal crimes. And then as far as sitting on a park bench in general, you know, as long as the city has no prohibitions against the duration of time that you can be there, once in a great while you would see a time limit restriction on picnic tables, for example. Oh, thank you. And repeat offenders was the other question. So if you're continuing to repeat crimes, one right after another, you most certainly would start to be pulled out of what this bill covers, that's for sure. I'll leave it at that, unless you wanted to add to it.
Representative Liston. Representative Sandridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And somebody can tell me if I'm inaccurate on this, because I was a police officer in Missouri, but everybody gets a bond, no matter what you do. If you get a ticket for 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, you get a bond, and it's called a signature bond. And at any time, an officer could say, I don't think you deserve a signature bond. I want you to do a money bond. So if somebody is on a park bench and an officer decides, I don't want to give you a summons or a ticket or some type of ordinance violation, they can say, you can sign off on it and go to court. You're released on the recognizance of your signature. Or they can say, no, you must come in and post bail, okay? And if you can't cover that $50 bail, then you're staying there. And you may stay there for days and we're spending a bunch of money on you. And until you don't post the bail, then they finally signature bond you after 3 days. So, where I'm from, and hopefully I'm pretty confident it's the same here, you can actually go to jail for mostly anything if the officer says, we're not going to give you a signature bond, we're going to have you come in and post a money bond. So, thanks.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. It's a pleasure to serve with you.
It's a pleasure to serve with you.
This bill kind of attracted my attention. I come from the sometimes from the Judge Roy Bean School of Justice. So those of you who have seen that movie know what I'm talking about. The Judge Roy Bean. I believe that there is a due and just penalties for the appropriate crimes, but I'm also a compassionate conservative and a fiscal conservative. And my colleague who was talking about, our jails, I know in El Paso County, and I'm pretty sure in Pueblo County as well, are bursting at the seams. And, if we're sending people to jail to house them for a week or two for a minor infraction, that's costing all of the taxpayers money for something that is probably pretty minor. Now, certainly if they're repeat offenders, I'm sure that will be brought up in the court system and catch those people that are certainly repeating all of the time. But to start warehousing people in city and county jails for minor petty offenses, really hurts the taxpayers as much or more than it does anybody else. Because if and when in El Paso County and Pueblo County and some of the other counties, if you've got to do a jail expansion, you're looking at $50 to $100 million in a lot of cases. And who pays for that? You pay for that via property taxes and so forth. So I rise in support of House Bill 1225 as someone from the Judge Roy Bean School of Justice. I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just quickly, members, I just want to talk for a second. I'm probably one of the only people in the room, maybe Representative Roberts, who've sat through hours and hours of bond hearings in my life. But at bond advisal time in the Adams County Jail every morning, we bring in anywhere from 60 to 120 new folks who were arrested the day before. And the process of setting bond is complicated and it's hard. And when I first heard of this bill, I opened it up expecting to find something that was overlooked, expecting to find something in there. It's like, oh, you hadn't thought about this or you hadn't thought about that. And then I read the whole bill and I said, actually, no. Obviously, a ton of work went into this bill because the pitfalls that I thought of in my experience were all addressed. And I will tell you a couple stories. There was a there was a time where I had to rush all the way across the Adams County Courthouse because there was a gentleman who had been cited several times for holding a sign asking for money because he was homeless in an area where he was not next to a street he wasn't allowed to stand next to. It's a place where he would go to ask for money because he was homeless and that he wasn't under CDOT regulations, not allowed to stand there. So he had 4 of those cases open and was in custody. Now that is not a jailable offense, but he had 4 of those cases open and I had to go try to find public defenders from all over the courthouse just to find a way to get him out of jail that day and to get rid of his cases. I also had to work to get people out of jail for simple possession of marijuana even after it was decriminalized. Before 2012, before Amendment 64 came in, it was still just a fine-only offense. But somebody would get the fine and not show up for court and wind up being in jail for a non-jailable offense. So then I had to work to try to get that person out of jail before. And that is not only work where that person shouldn't be in the jail system, but you shouldn't have DAs and public defenders having to work extra hours to try to make sure that today and not tomorrow is the day that somebody got out of jail for something they shouldn't have been in jail for in the first place. And so I think this is a very good bill. I think it is a good step, and there's some other stuff we can do as well. But I'm very proud of the sponsors for the work that they're doing. I think we're creating some really good public policy here. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1225. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1225 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1208.
House Bill 1208 by Representative Singer and Landgraf, Senators Fields and Gardner, concerning the designation of physical therapists as healthcare providers for the purpose of ensuring compliance with the required head trauma guidelines and organized youth athletic activities.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1208 and the Public Healthcare and Human Services Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My thanks to the committee for taking a hard look at this bill and the issue of allowing physical therapists to ensure that people can return to play, but only when it's safe. And so with that, there was an amendment that was brought forward that ensured that the physical therapist has training in neurology or concussion and evaluation management. The word training was specifically used to make sure that this wasn't just talking about somebody sitting in a classroom, but actually having real-life, in-person training as it relates to neurology or concussion evaluation and management. And with that, I ask for an aye vote on the Public Healthcare and Human Services Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Public Healthcare and Human Services Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Landgraf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The bill adds a licensed physical therapist to the definition of healthcare provider for the purpose of the required head trauma guidelines. So it just allows them to determine that children can return to play.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1208. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1208 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 152.
Senate Bill 152 by Senators Williams, also Representatives Duran and Arkin, concerning the continuation of the Public Safety Communications Subcommittee in connection therewith implementing the recommendations contained in the 2018 Census Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
There's no committee report.
Representative Duran.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 152.
There is no committee report.
No committee report.
To the bill, Representative Duran.
Under current law, the Public Safety Communications Subcommittee to the Homeland Security and All Hazards Senior Advisory Committee is scheduled to repeal September 1st, 2019. This bill continues the subcommittee.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 152. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 152 is adopted. Mr. Randall, please read the title to Senate Bill 151.
Senate Bill 151 by Senator Bridges, also Representative Exum, concerning the continuation of the Emergency Planning Subcommittee in connection therewith implementing the recommendations contained in the 2018 Census Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 151. There's no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 151 merely repeals the sunset provision extending the life of the Emergency Planning Subcommittee within Homeland Security for All Hazards Committee from the CDPHE and helping keep Coloradans safe. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 151. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 151 passes. Assistant Minority Leader Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over Senate Bill 88 until tomorrow.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, Senate Bill 088 will be laid over as requested by Minority Leader Kennedy. Assistant Minority Leader Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1196 until tomorrow.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, House Bill 1196 will be laid over, as requested by the Assistant Minority Leader. Majority Leader, my apologies. Mr. Rando, please read the title of House Bill 1087.
House Bill 1087, Representative Soper and Hansen, also Senator Woodward, concerning online notice of public meetings of local government entity.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1087.
And the TLG report.
To the bill.
And the TLG report. Yeah, the strike below. Yeah, as amended in the TLG report.
Can you please move the committee report?
Oh, I move the committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Transportation and Local Government Committee, we had a strike below L006, and this was a coalition of all our stakeholders coming together. So we had special districts, Colorado Municipal League, the counties. Everyone came into one room, and we agreed on the language here, and the committee also agreed. So I'd ask for a yes vote on the committee report.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1080. Transportation. I'm sorry, Transportation and Local Government report, committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The report passes. To the bill. Representative Soper.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is a pretty straightforward bill. What it does is it allows local governments, so we're talking special districts, cities, towns, counties, school boards, instead of posting in a physical place, if they choose to post their meeting notices online, they would be relieved of the physical location. This has much more to do with our special districts, which right now have to post in 3 separate locations. It can be really confusing for the general public. This helps move Colorado into the 21st century. And I would just ask for a yes vote.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I think this is a great update to our current statutes. We have requirements right now in statute for physical posting, meaning piece of paper taped to a door somewhere in some cases. And that's fine, and local governments can continue to do that if they would like. But I think it's inappropriate to have that as the statutory requirement when we can reach the public in a much more efficient way and a much more modern way by allowing electronic posting of these notices. So this is a great step forward for the state, and I urge your support of 1087.
Representative Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to explain my no vote in Transportation and Local Government on this bill. In my district, I still have a lot of people that do not have broadband. I still have a lot of older people who are not on the internet. And it's almost a discrimination whenever we think that these senior citizens, these older people, are going to be up to date and on the website or on the internet when they're out in rural Colorado. They don't live in town. So say if they wanted to participate in something, you have a young gal come in to do the secretary's work, she posts it online. This bill, once it's posted online, they do not have to put the physical posting up anymore. Now, you would hope that they would anyway, because that would be good government. But I could see where maybe it would not be, so that is why I'm a no vote, because I'm sticking up for my district and those rural residents or those older residents who aren't online all the time. Thank you.
Is there any further? Yes, Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, despite my strong opposition to the committee report, I have strong yes vote for the bill.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1087. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1087 passes. Mr. Randall, please read House Bill 1221.
House Bill 1221 by Representatives Coleman and Valdez A. Also Senators Bridges and Pedersen concerning the regulation of electric scooters.
Representative Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
And it's an honor to serve with you.
I move House Bill 19-1221. There's no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today, Representative Valdez and I are pleased to bring you House Bill 1221, a common sense bill that is also practical and has support of both the industry and the communities they operate in. Within this past year, our sidewalks have been taken over by electric scooters. These e-scooters are a new and innovative mode of transportation and that are being used in areas across the world and are not going away anytime soon. E-scooters can have a positive impact on a variety of challenges, including traffic congestion, vehicle emissions, inadequate parking availability, and more. In order for e-scooters to continue to be a great experience for users in the communities they serve, it's important that e-scooters are appropriately classified to reduce the congestions on sidewalks for pedestrians, especially those with disabilities. Colorado law needs to be modernized. 1221 simply defines an e-scooter as a device with an electric motor that weighs less than 100 pounds and has a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour. This bill adds the e-scooters to the definition of motor vehicles and authorizes them for use in bike lanes and on the roadway, but they are not required to be registered. This bill also regulates e-scooters in a manner similar to electric-assisted bicycles and allows local governments to regulate the use of e-scooters in a manner consistent with e-bicycles. Local governments have complete authority to set their own regulations, traffic rules, parking requirements, and fine structures that the local government can enact and modify those rules at any time. We ask for an aye vote on this bill.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Members, everything he said, plus this solves one of the most important issues I think facing the electric scootering community today, which is that when we have members of Colorado's disabled community using the sidewalk, they can't get around this stuff. So it helps us to get them off the sidewalk and make them better for everybody. And I would like to move Amendment L002 and ask that it be properly displayed. Members, this amendment...
Yes, Representative Valdez. The amendment is properly moved and displayed. Representative Valdez.
Thank you. So this amendment just changes the class of e-bike that they will be designated to the most common class, which is a Class 1, and also creates some language that local governments that have already passed regulations will not be affected by this bill.
Is there any further discussion on this amendment? Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Valdez, I'd just like to know, what is a Class 1 scooter?
Representative Valdez.
So it's a designation for the most common types of e-bikes. So it's just a designation that designates the type of motor and that sort of thing.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L002. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? Amendment L002 passes. To the bill.
We ask for an aye vote on 1221.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's a pleasure to serve with you. Well, members, you know, I see these little scooters. I don't know if I'd be eligible to ride one or not because, you know, the balance and trying to see and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, they strike me sometimes as being kind of dangerous and stuff. You know, I just live across the street from the Capitol, and you know, you look around there, people are zigging and zagging and stuff, and it really concerns me. I know there's a public safety issue with this, and about you know, if people are properly trained and certified. So with that, I would like to run an amendment L003, and I ask that it be displayed. So
the amendment is properly before us. Please proceed.
Thank you. So members, all this says is that to ride or ride or own or buy. I mean, let's have some proper certification. I mean, these people should be well trained. Public safety is at stake here. And I think that, it's the least we can require if our men and women are uniform out there, that they should, be properly trained. So, and proper training should be post officer standards training. I ask for an aye vote for L003.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is Representative Coleman.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Wow, I'm looking at this amendment, and I'm looking at it, it's just phenomenal. I think it's been some really great work done on this amendment, and we see this as friendly. Really appreciate that.
Representative Liston.
Thank you. Well, members, maybe this amendment was for the wrong bill. I'm not sure. So with that, I ask for the amendment L003 to be withdrawn.
Representative Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for one of the bill sponsors, for Representative Valdez. I reviewed the bill. I enjoyed it in committee and voted for it. I was wondering if this would allow somebody on a scooter to ride that scooter in the HOV lanes here in the state.
Representative Valdez.
For a small fee, Representative Gray. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L004 and ask to be properly displayed.
The substitute amendment has been properly displayed. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And
it's not
in
a
all seriousness, I was looking at this bill, and I've noticed that we don't exempt minors to some of these petty offenses, and a lot of minors do use scooters to get around. I also noticed that the bill not only says electric power, but human power. And so I think it's really important that we're not over-criminalizing our children when they're riding scooters, so I think this would be a friendly amendment. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Representative Valdez.
And thank you, Madam Chair. We appreciate the amendment, but that's going to be handled by local governments as they set their regulations. But since we're classifying them from toys to e-bikes, everyone is allowed to ride, and the city gets to make the regulations. So I urge a no vote.
Representative Singh.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and particularly because this does hit folks living in poverty and maybe minority communities. I would hate for these children under 18 to start out with some kind of criminal offense that would really hurt their chances of getting a job and doing many other things in life. So this is I think, a really good amendment. I'd urge a yes vote.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We love children as well, and this is a no. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L004. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The amendment is lost. To the bill. Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do believe that there is an opt-out of this regulation. And what I move L005 and ask that it be shown.
L005 is properly displayed. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so on this bill, or on this amendment, it's accept that the municipalities and the counties or city and county may opt out of the regulating of electric scooters, and I ask for a yes on this amendment. As we know, not all city counties are all the same. Rural areas would love to have their kids be able to get to work on a scooter. So again, I ask that the counties and municipalities are able to not have to regulate. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We feel that local regulation is adequate and the provisions within the bill are adequate. I urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, The question before us is the adoption of L005. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment fails. Noes have it. Back to the bill. Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great bill. Urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm looking at page 2, line 9, definition of a scooter. Number 3, that is powered by an electric motor, okay, all right, or human power. So the way I read that, and I'm not an attorney, and I know attorneys are special, but the way I read it is powered by an electric motor or human power. So to me, that sounds like the kid on a Razor scooter isn't going to be able to ride a Razor scooter, given what this says in the bill about electric scooters. So the bill reads that is powered by an electric motor or human power. So I move L, look at that, I got L001. How about that? L001.
The amendment is properly before us. Please proceed.
Thank you. So as you can see, what we're saying here is we're striking power, we're substituting power or both, which is to say you could be riding this thing electrically or you could be kicking it along as long as it is an electric powered scooter. So I think it's clarification that certainly wouldn't harm the intent of the bill, and I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I urge an aye vote on this amendment as well. I think you all know that I have a son that's really tall. He's 6'6", but he had reached 6'2" by the time he was 12. But he was still a little kid. I mean, he still had a kid brain. He was 6'2" and 12, but he was strong, but he had one of those Razor scooters, and I betcha he went at least 20 miles an hour. Now, he was a kid. He was out on the road, or we would be in the park, in a parking lot, things like that. But he might ride the scooter to the park, and the idea of having him get a ticket or having him be regulated by the local government just seems a little bit scary when you have a 10 or 11-year-old on his little scooter. So I urge an aye vote saying that this should be, since the title is for electric scooters, let's really keep it to electric scooters. And again, I urge an aye vote on the amendment.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you. As we said before, this just kind of switches it to a bike. So it carries the same regulation as a bike. It allows local control where they see necessary, and I urge a no vote on the amendment.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L001. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is lost. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we ask for an aye vote on 1221.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1221. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. House Bill 1221 passes. Now, where do I go? I just leave? Minority, oh my goodness. Assistant Majority Leader Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report. Let me get.
You ready? The House will come back to order. Mr. Randall, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your committee of the whole Big Sleeve report is on the traditional following House bills being cited with recommendations. They're on House Bill 1087 as amended, House Bill 1174 as amended, House Bill 1208 as amended, House Bill 1221 as amended, House Bill 1225 as amended, passed second reading, gross bills counted for third and final passage. Senate Bill 151 and Senate Bill 152 passed second reading, revised bills counted for third and final passage. House Bill 1196 and Senate Bill 88 are laid over until March 22nd, 2018, retaining their place on the calendar.
Representative Duran. You have heard the motion, and there are 3 amendments at the desk. Mr. Randall, please read the same amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Sane moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Sane Amendment L004 to House Bill 1221 to show this has been passed. The House Bill 1221 has amended passed.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the same amendment to the Committee of the Whole.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I think this conversation is that important to have. We've seen communities being really overbearing with bicycles on sidewalks. And I do want to exempt people who are under the age of 18 because the overcriminalization of our young people has to stop. And I understand there needs to be rules and regulations regarding certain things, but this is a little bit too much. So I'd ask for a yes vote on this so that these petty offenses do not apply to somebody who is under the age of 18.
Representative anyone? Anyone? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of the Sane Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Jaquez Lewis, McKean, Benavidez, please. Oh. Representative McKean, that's a $2 fine. $2. $2. Always negotiating. Please close the machine. With 27 aye votes, 38 no votes, the Sane Amendment fails. Mr. Randall, please read the Buck Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Buck moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Buck Amendment L005 to House Bill 1221 to show this has been passed. House Bill 1220 has been passed.
Representative Buck. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I move the Buck Amendment to the Committee of the Whole. Please proceed. You know, I have to tell you, in this whole discussion, it sounds like this might be a Denver County issue. And again, we've seen it before. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of state. And what happens in the rural does not happen in the county, or when in the municipalities, and what happens in the municipalities doesn't happen in the rural areas. So I'm asking that, again, we allow counties, municipalities to not have to regulate their electric scooters. And so I ask for a simple yes on this wonderful Buck Amendment. Thank you. Representative Valdez-A.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm going to ask for a no vote on the amendment. We believe the local control aspects of the bill account for this correctly, same as bikes. So I would urge a no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? The question before us is the Buck Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Valdez D, please close the machine. With 25 aye votes and 40 no votes, the Buck Amendment fails. Mr. Randall,
please read the title to, please read the title to the Humphrey Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Humphrey moved to amend the Board of the Committee to hold first the action taken by the committee and not adopting the following Humphrey Amendment L001 to House Bill 1221 shall the Senate pass the House Bill 1221 passed.
Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Humphrey Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report.
Please proceed.
Members, I want you to think about that beloved English teacher that you had probably before you got to college, for me, because that's probably the most liberal professor I had, but I asked for an aye vote on this amendment. So what we're simply saying, as the bill reads, page 2, line 9, powered by an electric motor or human power. And I don't know about you, but I think it'd be better to say strike power and put power or both, because this is an electric scooter which can also be presumably kicked along down the road, which will be non-electric power. So I'd ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Representative Singh.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And human-powered scooters are often powered by children, so this is also for the children. Vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm going to urge a no vote on the amendment. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the Humphrey Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Wilson and Catlin. Please close, Representative Wilson, please close the machine. With 27 aye votes and 38 no votes, the Humphrey Amendment is lost. There are no more amendments. The question before us. What? Oh, please close the machine. What? What are you talking about? Okay. The question before us is, the question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Carver, please close the machine. With 51 aye votes and 14 no votes, the report of the Committee of the Whole is passed. Announcements and introductions. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Colorado Children's Caucus will be meeting today in House Committee Room 107. This is probably the most powerful thing you will hear all year. Youth Project Foster Power will be presenting on youth voice issues and priorities for 2019. These are our kids who have been through our foster care system. It's up to us to listen to them. Today is the day to do that in House Committee Room 107 from 12 to 1 p.m. and we will also be serving food as well. So look forward to seeing you and welcome to interacting with our kids in foster care.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am so happy to have so many members already in the well. May I get the Capitol Choir?
And while they're gathering, come for lunch.
It's your birthday. It's your birthday. No.
Whose birthday is today?
Yeah, who's at Fulton?
His birthday. I think somebody is turning 40. So shall we sing, "Oh man, look at my life"? All right, we're ready. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Melton. Happy birthday to you.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have been approved to be excused starting at 12 noon tomorrow, whatever the date is tomorrow. I think it is the 22nd.
Permission granted. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And in honor of Representative Melton's birthday, in honor of Representative Melton's birthday, there's about 250 hot dogs down in the basement ready to go. So see you down there.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Finance Committee will be meeting in about 15 minutes. In LSBA, we'll hear Byrd and Titone, 1228, and we'll also hear Senate Bill 1138 Byrd. Be on time. We will start the committee without you.
Representative McKean.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have dueling lunches today, so in honor of Representative Melton's birthday, come on down to the University Club. That's the University Club in honor of Representative Melton's birthday at the University Club at noon.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I look forward to seeing everybody on the Education Committee, Room 107 today. We're doing Senate Bill 94 and Senate Bill 129. See you there.
Representative Weissman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Judiciary members, now that there was a rare off day on Tuesday so that everybody could read the LCS quarterly forecast, we're back to our usual business. At 1:30, we will hear three bills: House Bill 1250 by Rep. Herod, 1219 by Rep. Gonzalez Gutierrez, also Senate Bill 168. See you at 1:30.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Rural Affairs and Agriculture Committee in about 10 minutes. It is Potato Day in committee. We have Senate Bill 147, Senate Bill 148. See you there.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Energy and Environment Committee, since you all were so good on Monday, you have today off. We will not be meeting upon adjournment.
Representative Titone.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was approved for to be excused on April 8th and the morning of April 9th. And thank you very much.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For the first time since I think the middle of November, the Joint Budget Committee will not be meeting.
Woohoo! Any other announcements and introductions? Representative Kennedy.
Oh, hold on. No, this isn't procedural. This is my committee. Thank you, Madam Chair. State Veterans and Military Affairs is meeting this afternoon at 1:30 in LSBA to hear House Bills 1232 and 1229.
You all are free to leave. We're going to read some reports. Reports of committees of reference.
Committee on Business, Affairs, and Labor. Representatives the mayors of the committee recommends following. House Bill 1238 be referred to the committee of the whole. Favor recommendation. Committee on Health and Insurance. Representatives the mayors of the committee recommends following. House Bill 1216 be amended as follows. And also amended be referred to the committee on Appropriations with favor recommendation. Committee on Public Health Care and Human Services. Representatives the mayors of the committee following. Senate Bill 31 be referred to the committee of the whole. Favor recommendation. Senate Bill 65 be amended as follows. And also amended be referred to the committee on Appropriations with favor recommendation. Committee on Transportation and Local Government. Representatives the mayors of the committee following. House Bill 1157 be postponed indefinitely. Senate Bill 76 be amended as follows. And that's amended to be referred to the committee of the whole for recommendation.
Printing report.
Chief Clerk reports following bills
Printing
have
report will
been.
be printed in the journal. Message from the Senate.
Madam Speaker, the
Message
Senate.
from the Senate will be printed in the journal. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the following bills be calendared on the general order's second reading calendar for Friday, March 22nd. House Bill 1238, Senate Bill 31, and Senate Bill 76.
Seeing no objection, the bills will be calendared as requested by the Majority Leader. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will be in recess till later today.
That will give us some work to.